So this is BAIL, blockchain-based agricultural insurance and loan application. So it has mainly two workflows, insurance workflow and loan workflow. Insurance workflow is a core problem statement that has been given to us, and loan workflow is a use case that we have additionally put into our application. So let's get into the application. This is the activity diagram of the whole application. So initially there is a farmer. A farmer has an Android application that is developed by us. So a farmer gets his land insured by an insurer and takes snapshot of his insurance documents. Now this the snapshot of the document is taken and given to an Microsoft API, which extract text from these documents and give to us. Now, secondly, we have farm coordinates. Now, wherever the farm is using the Android GPS, we can get the farmer's farm coordinate, and then finally these details are pushed into the blockchain. Now, there's an insurer that checks the detail, and if everything is all right, then insurance is done. Now, all that is left is to continuously monitor these coordinates for any natural calamity. And if there is any natural calamity, the insurance amount is directly transacted to the farmer's account. And the next use case is for loan. So a farmer can request for a loan, and this loan is given to the farmer without any collateral. And this loan is crowd-funded not by just one organization but by many people. So a farmer requests for a loan for some amount, and then multiple people bids on that loan. For example, a farmer requests for a loan of 2 lakh rupees. So a person cannot give 2 lakh rupees to the farmer at once. So a person can give only 30,000 to the farmer at the interest rate of say 5%. And there is another person who can give loan to the farmer of 20,000 rupees at the interest rate of 7%. So like this, many people can give small amount to the farmer, and which would aggregate to be a 2 lakh sum at some interest rate that they are suitable with. So finally, farmer gets a list of these bids and chooses the bids that most appropriately suits him. Now, obviously, these bids are interest rates are very low than what a bank or landlord would charge, which are generally above 15%. Now, the bids are made, the farmer insurance is done, and finally the land is insured. This is the state diagram. So this upper portion of the state diagram is for insurance, and this lower portion of the state diagram is for loan. So once the farmer has uploaded its details of insurance, the insurer validates them. Once all the data is validated, then the coordinates of the farm are continuously checked by weather API, which is open weather API, for any natural calamity. If there is no natural calamity, then normally the insurance would expire and the farmer would uh, sell his crops. And if there is any natural calamity, then the farmer would get the insurance amount directly to his account. Now, once the insurance has been validated, the farmer can request for a loan from multiple investors. These investors check the terms of the insurance of the farmer, and if they are suitable and they are acceptable to the investors, then they can give loan to the farmer. Now they bid with their interest rate. The farmer chooses the bid. If there is any natural calamity, then the insurance amount is used to pay off the debt. Now this is why we don't need any collateral for our solution. And if there is no natural calamity, then normal harvesting is done and the farmer pays off the loan by selling his crops. So these are the various tools used to build our application. There's Azure Blockchain Workbench, Azure Active Directory, Azure Logic Apps, Open Weather API, Android, React, and Node.js.
You can see this is the website that is going to be exposed to the end users. At present, I'm going to register for the corresponding application and I'll type in my credentials. So I've just given my first initial name and last name, and along with that I've mentioned my email ID. When I press get started, it says request submitted successfully. What happens here is that I cannot immediately log in into the application. What actually happens is that my corresponding email and my details are sent to the admins at the backend, and they hold the responsibility and the ability to add me to the Active Directory. Unless and until I'm not added to the Azure Active Directory, which is being used as a means of authentication here, uh, one cannot simply log in inside the application. So I'll have to wait for my request to be approved, and then I'll get a corresponding confirmation on my email ID that I mentioned here, and once that is there, I'll be able to log in.
So here, as administrator, I can assign various roles to various stakeholders to the application. For example, here are various roles. There's farmer, insurer, administrator, that is me, and investor, and weather API. So a recent request has been made by Anuj, and I'll assign farmer role to him. So as you can see, here is that request, and I'm assigning this role to Anuj, and he is added to my application as in farmer. So this is the Azure Active Directory, and it provides many features for us, and the most important feature is it provides abstraction of entities from blockchain. For example, here we can see in MetaMask, I have this account address. So every user in blockchain is represented by this account address. Now what Active Directory is doing for me is it is abstracting all of that and providing me just the username. So this username in backend represents this account, and all of this is hidden from me. So just now a request was submitted from Anuj Singh, and I can see that request, and this is that request. Now I've approved it and assigned a role farmer for this ID.
Now that I've received my login credentials within my email, and the admins have approved me and added me to the Azure Active Directory, I'll be able to log in with my corresponding username, which is unique, and my password. So as you can see, this is the basic dashboard wherein I'm able to see my profile and other details if necessary. The entire website, along with the mobile application that you're going to see forthcoming, uh, is linked with the Azure Active Directory and the Workbench, which is deployed on the blockchain. And as you can see, this is our application and the various instances for insurance and agricultural loan. We'll get into uploading an insurance using the mobile application, since it's more easier intuitive in that manner, and we'll show you a demo of how the mobile application works. So this is the insurance uploading application. As you can see, these are the details that are required for the insurance policy to be created, and we're using Azure's form recognizer API so as to facilitate the procedure of filling the form in using a image only. So this is a sample form we're taking into consideration. So I'll take an image, I'll upload that. So it pulls the form recognizer API, and it's trained to recognize the given details along with the corresponding values from the image itself. And I also need the location, so I'm using my current location, and I upload the document for review. So the data that you're seeing here is again formatted so as it is compatible with the form and the smart contract that is actually deployed on the Azure blockchain workbench. So I'm going to upload this for review, and it's going to redirect me to the workbench the moment it actually gets validated and added as a smart contract. So as you can see here, I have no actions to perform right now since it is under review and it's for the insurer to do that. The document is uploaded, and these are the details for the document, as you can see there here.
So this is an insurer's ID. So as you can see, a farmer has uploaded a request for the insurance, and I can see it here. And now I can go ahead and verify these fields, and like insurance number, start date, end date, and the latitude and longitude of the farm. And if everything seems okay, then I can go ahead and approve this insurance request, or I can reject it. So again, this is all the insurance details, and this is the farmer who's requesting for the insurance, and this is me. So now I'll review these documents, and everything seems okay, then I'll accept this insurance. And now as you can see, this transaction is being mined by various nodes in the blockchain, and once this transaction is verified, you can see the changes here. Now this request is now insured, and for the technical details, this is the block hash, the transaction where this transaction is appended. This is my address, and this is the transaction hash. And finally, you can see the insurance amount is this. Okay, so now these crops are insured by the farmer, and all that is left is to continuously monitor this latitude and longitude of the farm for natural calamity. Now to monitor these latitude and longitude, we are using a weather API. As you can see, this is an open weather API, and all I have to do is send the latitude and longitude, and it will return me the weather condition of that place. So this is a sample response, and I'm interested in this temperature and humidity fields for drought, and rain amount of rain for the floods. So the response from this weather API is integrated with my blockchain workbench using an Azure Logic app. So this is that Azure Logic app. So an Azure Logic app is basically a intermediate between my blockchain and API. Now my API request acts as a trigger, and in response to this trigger, an function of the contract is executed, and finally the data on the blockchain is updated. So as you can see, this is the trigger. When this HTTP request is received, this smart contract here is executed, and finally this function is triggered with these parameters of temperature and rain, and this changes the data on the blockchain, and it is being continuously monitored. Now once a drought or a flood is detected, this contract is changed appropriately. So now to simulate a drought or natural calamity condition, I'm going to take an action and update sensor readings here manually. Now these readings would be updated by the API automatically in the backend. Just to simulate those conditions, I am sending the data from here, and uh, according to thresholds, this results in drought. So once this transaction gets mined, you can see the changes here. Okay, so as you can see, the state has been updated and the crops are ruined due to drought, and below here you can see that insurance amount has been received by the farmer, and automatically this amount has been transferred from the insurer to the farmer.
So far what you have seen is the basic problem statement and its implementation, along with some extra features that we've added. What I'd like to showcase now is something apart from insurance, and that is how to avail loans using crowdsourcing, utilizing the power of blockchains. So what happens is that, as you can see, this is the contract that was uploaded using the mobile application by the farmer, that is me in this case. The moment I create an insurance, I get an optional feature of availing an agricultural loan for my insurance. So what happens is that same insurance details are replicated over here, along with me as a farmer who gets the ability to take an action. Now what happens here is that, let's just say my insurance amount is 21,762 in this case. So when I press take action, and I get the opportunity to take the amount of loan required, and I take an action. So let's say I need 20,000 for a period of 6 months, and I take an action. What's happening here is that I'm trying to avail a loan using all the bidders that are out there, all the insurance. So as you can see, the state got updated to make a bid. So what's happening here is that I'm extending my ability to fetch a loan from multiple bidders who might not necessarily crowdsource completely, but without collateral, the insurance amount that I'm getting here. So what happens here is that, let's just say in a moment my crop fails and my insurance amount is returned, and in that case I can use that amount to extend back my loans and make sure that these bidders receive their money at lower interest rate, but at the same time they don't have to pay all of it individually. So what happens is that multiple users can contribute and crowdsource to get up to an insurance amount of 20,000 that are made, and they can make bids of it. Once they make a bid, I get an action to decide whether or not I want those bids, and at that time those transactions and amounts will be transferred to me. And in that case, what happens is that my insurance and agriculture go hand in hand.
So now I'm in a role of investor, and I can see that some farmer has requested for a loan. Now I can see the details of the loan here. Uh, Here is the name of the farmer, the insurance amount, and the amount of loan that he requires, and along with all the other details. So I can go ahead and make a bid to this farmer. Again, these are the same details. This is the amount of loan that the farmer requires. Now I can't give 20,000 to this farmer. What I can give is 5,000. So I'll enter my lending amount as 5,000, and my interest rate would be 6%. Now note here that as a common person, I'm charging very less interest rate as compared to the banks and other organizations who provide loan to the farmers. So I'll go ahead and place my bid. Now once this transaction gets mined, my bid gets placed, and here it is. Now one bid is placed. Now as a second investor, I can go ahead and place another bid. So I can make a bid for, let's say, 10,000, and my interest rate would be 7%, and I'll go ahead and place my bid. So as you can see, the previous bid was placed by Amit Kumar, and this is the transaction for that. And now I'm placing a bid from Suraj Singh Bisht, and this is my transaction. So I'm lending 10,000 with interest rate of 7, and Amit Kumar lend 5,000 with interest rate of 6. So in this manner, multiple investor would make bids, and finally the farmer would shortlist the bids that is most appropriate for him.
Okay, so I've had a total of 3 bids so far. So 3 different investors have managed to place not the entire amount but a fraction of it, and they're willing to pay it at lower interest as compared to banks. So obviously, getting a loan from those investors is going to be a better option. So I'm going to take an action. So this is from Suraj Singh Best. He's lending me 5,000 at an interest rate of 4. So I say and I take an action. So I've got 3 bids so far. So I'm going to accept all of these. Let's just say for the purpose of showcasing, and I take my action. What's happening over here right now is that my transaction is being processed and all those bids are being made. Okay, so I'm currently in the monitor insurance status, and what happens in this case is my total bids have been 3, and this is the amount of loan return that I'm expected to pay to each of those bids. So 5,000 at an interest rate of 4%, 10,000 at an interest rate of 7%, and 5,000 at an interest rate of 5%. So these are the insurance amounts, the final insurance amount that as a farmer I'm expected to pay in return to the investors once my crop is harvested. So, and also I must mention that in the event my crop fails, I'll get my insurance money immediately transferred without any overhead to my account, and in that case I can immediately transfer that money to the investors automatically. Nothing has to be done by an intermediary, so it removes all the overhead from that. Okay, so my agriculture loan has been approved by multiple bidders and has been crowdsourced by those bidders. And at the same time, this agricultural loan is bound and linked with the insurance that I've availed. Okay, so what that makes sense is the weather API, which we're using to monitor a particular location that is associated with my insurance and agricultural loan smart contract, is continuously being monitored for either a drought or a flood at a given point of time. So in the event a flood or a drought occurs and my insurance contract immediately transfers the insurance money into my account, the same money, since it is bound and linked to the agricultural loan, is used to pay off each and every investor that has invested in my agricultural loan at those given interest rates. So my friend over here is going to simulate those conditions so as to create a sense of flood. So the insurance amount is going to be triggered. As you can see, the weather API for that given particular location triggers the fact that the crops have been ruined due to floods, and in that case the insurance amount that I have received is my insurance amount 21,762. And if I go into my agricultural loan, that insurance amount will be used to pay off those investors. As you can see over here, the agricultural loan contract that is associated with my insurance has also been tagged with crops ruined due to natural disaster, in this case which was flood, and the money that I've received with my insurance amount has been used to pay back those investors with the same given interest rate.